Hi, Dave Stanfield here with Evergreen Wealth Management LLC, and today I wanted to address a question I get all the time from clients, and that is, should I convert money from my rollover IRA or my traditional IRA to a Roth? Should I do a Roth conversion? And I do that, very common situation. Many of my clients will do that, many don't. So it really depends on your situation, I guess. Some of the benefits, some of the reasons why someone would consider doing a Roth conversion. One benefit is, let's say that you have a sizable pre-tax account, like $1 million or more in a rollover IRA. Well, in the future, let's say you're 60 years old, that account could double someday, get to $2.5 million if you get good market performance. And so when you reach your required minimum distribution age, your RMD age, the IRS is going to force you to do withdrawals at nearly 4% in the beginning of that IRA, and then you'll have to pay taxes, which would be roughly $80,000 if it's $2 million in market value, and wherever the tax rates are at that point in the future, 10, 12 years down the road. So one benefit in doing a Roth conversion and sort of chipping away at it over time is that you're reducing the amount of money that's in your pre-tax account and putting it into a Roth IRA, and so that your future RMDs will be lower, but potentially lower. Another benefit, I think, in doing that is that usually when people put money into a Roth IRA, they convert money into a Roth, they'll change the investment allocation or the goal. So they might have like a 70-30 allocation, more of a growth portfolio in their rollover IRA. And then when the money goes into the Roth, they may change it to an all equity allocation, because the Roth IRA is typically the last account that someone might go to for their own needs in retirement, because Roth IRAs don't have RMD requirements. So that's oftentimes the account that goes to the kids. So they'll use their other resources, their savings, their pre-tax accounts, their taxable brokerage accounts for their own income planning. But then the Roth IRA will just be invested in a longer-term growth strategy. So I also see doing a Roth conversion a lot when you're in a low income year, because after all, you're trying to pay a lower rate of taxes on the conversion that you might otherwise pay in the future. So sometimes it works out great when someone is, let's say, 60 years old and they retire, and they have zero income. So then they'll do a partial Roth conversion up to a certain tax rate, whatever their tax professional would recommend, but usually at least to the top of the first or second federal income tax rates. So let's just say $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. And then they'll pay ordinary income on that at presumably a lower rate. And then they'll grow that account long term. And if they do that for 4 or 5 years, then they'll have quite a bit of money into a Roth IRA that's growing on a tax deferred basis. After the waiting period, all of that money will eventually be tax free to them, that their kids could inherit someday. So it works out great. But if on the flip side, you're already collecting Social Security and you convert $70,000 from your pre-tax accounts, well, that's going to make your Social Security benefit taxable now. Or if you're doing consulting and it's before you start taking Social Security, but you have $100,000 in income from your consulting business or your wages from some other source, and then you convert money from a rollover IRA into a Roth, that's just going to add on top as ordinary income on top of your other income in that tax year, and then you're going to pay a higher rate of taxes. And so when you do the math and the forecasting and look at the calculators, it's going to show that there is really no benefit in doing that. So important to look at your situation specifically, and also try and aim for those years where you're in low income tax years, and then usually people just kind of chip away at it over time. But I think it's a great thing to take advantage of, and I see it really commonly when people retire, and it's before they start taking their Social Security and they have really no other income. So hopefully that gives you some clarity in the way that we think about Roth conversions, if it makes sense for you. But if you want to talk about your situation more specifically, please call me anytime, and happy to go through it with you. Thank you very much.